So like I said, President Trump, I'm a nationalist. It's okay to use that word. He's right. Like I said earlier, I'm a nationalist too, on a binary between nationalism and globalism. It's nothing worthy of taboo. It's just a system that promotes strength in diversity. So it is something you see when you see each state having its own rights, each country having its own sovereignty. This is promoting strength in diversity, looking at each individual, see, not looking at people in groups, but as individuals. We do the same thing on a macrocosm with countries and states. We like to give everybody their own liberty when possible, and globalism, of course, would add a centralized authoritarian element, an overarching element of control to all these countries that would normally be doing their own thing. They would be nationalistic, they'd be looking out for them. But of course, in globalism, everything is there's all these other counterbalances. They're not looking at each country as a sovereign entity, but they're looking at us all as a team. And I'm not sure what the end goal is with the larger globalist ideology, the larger economics and system of globalism. Like perhaps it would be better for us to have a one world government. We can't really try that though, because there's a great difficulty in taking power away once you give it. Once we go down that route, like the EU wants to turn all these different sovereign countries into just this one union, as if they're sort of like the United States, I guess. That would be their argument. Well, we just want to be the European United States. Yeah, but you're not really. We have a constitution. We have all these things established early on. And EU charters, they don't really respect the states' rights to choose things. They are dictating what has to be done. So I don't want to see countries, that are under the control of people that aren't looking out for that specific country, those specific circumstances on the ground, in the area. I want to see leaders of a country love that country and want to see that one specific individual country do well. And that's nationalism. Okay, that's nationalism. I'd like Sweden and Norway to have all the benefits of being part of the world economy, and I want them to be successful, but I want them to maintain their individuality and their culture, their character. I want them to be seen for their merits and their flaws, and not by some lowest common denominator. Okay? So it's okay to be a nationalist. Now, if you start to add other words in there, other types of nationalism, those might be less savory. Okay? If you're an ethno-nationalist, now there are some arguments for that in terms of preserving culture, makes sense. Okay? I will say that much. But I don't believe in limiting who can immigrate by immutable characteristics or migrate. I believe we need to have a system of law and order, and that's the only way forward for legal migration and immigration. Of course, I do believe that I do believe in a merit-based immigration system, but I don't believe in, looking at somebody's race or sex, gender, creed, religion, occupation, and saying, well, you can't be here. Okay? I mean, it's when you're talking about bringing in new people to a country that has a welfare state, yes, you do probably need to look at merit instead of just letting anybody in that is just going to feed off of the system. That's true. But it's a complicated issue, and I don't believe in ethno-states. I think I understand preserving the culture of a place that has always maintained a certain religion or always maintained a certain mentality. I look at the United States and I'm going, well, we're not really a white country, a black country, an Asian country, a Hispanic country, but we're a country of diversity and of freedom. All Americans should be provided the negative liberty and the positive liberty to live their lives peacefully and prosper with their rights respected as envisioned and interpreted in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. That is the culture that I believe in. So when you talk about limiting by, for example, race, that's an ethno-state, limiting things by race, only this race is allowed to be here, I don't consider that humanistic enough for my sensibility, okay? Like I said, there are arguments for why that might be a goal, and perhaps a valid one. Again, I can't really judge, okay, because I don't study the subject too well, but I have heard some interesting discourse on that.